couldn't drive through the Matkey River Nature Reserve, I was trying to find a road to cross the Ruiz Cederberg Park, but it was almost impossible because all the roads were closed, or I found signs saying that it was a private road and you could not go through there. So I kept driving north, hoping that I could go around the park and finally get the R355 to the Tanquaqueru National Park. Beautiful valley stands in front of me. Sometimes you cannot go to the road you wanted and you have to divert to an alternate, and that alternate road tends to be an interesting one, like this one. It is a mountain pass, and on the other side of that mountain pass you'll find that valley that looks beautiful. Beautiful mountains again. Landkloof, little town in a beautiful place. Damn, this road is bad, huh? It is bad. If another car comes on the other direction, there's no way to pull over. These climbs are 30, 35, 40%. I don't know. These are really, really steep. I tried to find some roads that would take me to the east, but several of them were private, or so they say the signs that I found. Because lately I found out that some of the farmers here just post a private sign so you don't cross through their land. But actually you can do that because those roads don't belong to them. And I drove for hours until I found a road on the map that looked like could take me to the east. Well, there's a river on the way. I have walked it, and the water is all the way to here. I don't know. The alternative is turning back and do it probably 100 kilometers more. I think I'm going to deflate the tires and go for it. But I don't really like it. Good morning, everyone. As I'm walking the river again for the 5th or 6th time, let me tell you what happened on this river. I got through that road to this river. When I got closer to the river, one of the guys at the farm, which is located 200 meters from here, told me that the river was a bit high, and he didn't recommend it to cross the river. He said it was better to turn back and take another road, which was probably between 100 and 150 kilometers more. And the roads that took me here are not in the best condition, so I decided to walk the river to the other bank, that bank over there, and see how deep it was. And it wasn't really deep. The water was almost half my thigh, maybe almost to my hip. So I thought I could do it. Problem was that on the right side, that is, on that right side over there, I walked over quite big boulders, and I saw that the left side was kind of clear. So all the left side was sand and mud, and there were some
boulders and rocks on the right side. So I decided to drive on the left side, and I thought it was the best way. So this is what I did. Drove the left side, started crossing, and everything was fine. Until I hit one boulder. The sound of it wasn't good, but the problem was that the car started skidding to the right. So I wasn't able to drive it to the left again, and it started to slip to the right. So it was heading me toward the area where I knew the boulders were. So it wasn't possible to drive to the left, because every time I was going over one of those boulders, the car slid a little more to the right. So it was taking me more to the right, until I got to a point that it hit a big boulder. And I couldn't go any further. The car stopped, and the engine was running, but I couldn't go any further because there was this big boulder between the front and the rear wheels. That was the main problem. As you can see, water didn't go any lower, so the level is about the same. Now I was about this far from the other bank. Here the water is not that deep, but on this side here is where all the boulders are. You cannot see anything because the water is very muddy. So driving here is like driving blind. And the truck stopped somewhere around here. It wasn't really far from the other bank, probably like 15 meters, something like that. This boulder was between front and rear wheels, and it was stuck somewhere in the middle. So the front wheels were turning, but the rear wheels were not, and that was a bad sign. And the problem was that now I was just driving on two-wheel drive. It was not just that it was two-wheel drive, it was that the rear wheels were dragging. They were locked in place, and they were dragging. They were dragging all the sand in front of them, and this big boulder that I could feel it was in front of the rear wheels. So it was trying to get out on two-wheel drive, dragging the rear wheels and a big boulder and sand and mud. I walked here, I saw my options, saw two trees, one tree here, another tree there, and I started to winch the track out. So it started coming out, slowly but surely. But it got to a point, approximately, this is where the water ends, approximately there, and the track didn't want to go any further. It was as you can see there, it's all full of boulders, and there were the big boulder that I was dragging and also other boulders, and so it was very, very difficult to move. And it got to a point that it didn't want to move. So I decided to use this other tree and winch from there. So it started to move a little, but the problem was that being on the right side, the track started to go to that side, which was worse because all the boulders are there. So it got to the point that we didn't move anymore. I did all I could. I doubled the winch. I used the snatch block, trying to reduce the tension. But finally, the synthetic rope of the winch snapped, and with my options were over there. So what I did was cross the river back. I went to that farm there, which is more than a farm. It's a campsite with rooms, and these two very nice guys came to the river and tried to help me. Even getting the truck out of the water, I couldn't do much because the rear wheels were not turning at all. And it was a sign that something broke there. So the rear part still half wheel in the water. The front wheel is almost everything outside. And it's just another meter or meter and a half to get out of the river. Pulling it outside, it's not much because the car is right there. The only thing is that we cannot winch it anymore because there are no more trees. But really, it's not inside the river. It's just almost outside. What I knew was that I couldn't drive the truck anymore. I couldn't drive it because from here the road is a mountain pass and there's some sandy stretches, and I couldn't drive it on two-wheel drive. Moreover, the back wheels were not helping at all because they were not turning, but they were locked in place. So it wasn't possible to drive. So I needed somebody to pull me out and to take me to the nearest town. Next farm guy, very nice guy, he's got a tractor and he came to rescue. So he came from that side and he crossed the river, got to the car, crossed around the car, he went up through here, uphill, and he positioned the truck on that side. Yeah, we using the kinetic rope and the tractor. Finally, we could pull the truck out of the water. As soon as we drove up, we could hear some clank, 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 clank. Something, the truck was dragging something, and he was doing this noisy clank, 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 and then something fell. Was a piece of the prop shaft. Prop shaft was broken. So when it hit, one of the boulders broke, and it was on the ground. This is the prop shaft that broke. You can see here it is completely torn and it fell from underneath the car. So without that, there was no way those wheels would turn. The options were to take the rest of the prop shaft, which is the frontal part, take it out and drive two-wheel drives. But the rest of the road until you get to the R355 is not good. So the guy from Calvinia called last night. He said he would come today. It's going to take him like between 3 or 4 hours because the road is not good. It's only 86 kilometers, so you can imagine how bad these roads are. And I didn't want to take any more risks. I didn't want to get stuck somewhere like 50 kilometers from here and have to walk like 50 more to the nearest place. And I decided it was better to wait here for the guy with the trailer to come. See, this is the synthetic rope that snapped. We used it, tying it here. So we did all we could. Lessons learned the hard way. If you get to a river crossing and local said don't do it, don't do it. I thought I could do it. I thought it wasn't that bad. I thought it wasn't that deep, but I didn't see the problem under the water, which were the boulders. And these guys knew about the boulders. I didn't know about them, and those were the real problem. So trust local people. Even if you have experience crossing rivers, it's not the same crossing a sandy river that crossing a river with rocks. The real problems are that if you don't see the rock and you're going to hit it, you probably would end up breaking something. So this is another lesson that I learned, and hopefully I don't have to learn again. When you go for adventure is not always just a a bed of roses. It's not what you want, but this is what you get. And hopefully if you're watching this video, it'll help you to prevent that you follow my mistakes.
Long story short, because I don't want to go in detail, but the guy from Galvinia showed up with a car smaller than mine, with a trailer, and they removed the rest of the rear part of the prop shaft. And but he said he didn't feel comfortable putting the truck on the trailer and driving the mountain pass. So I was forced to drive the mountain pass on a two-wheel drive. And then when we got up the mountain pass, he said he didn't feel comfortable going down the other side of the mountain pass. So I drove down, and then we crossed the sand section. And by the time we got to the gravel road, he said we could put it on the trailer. But I did all the difficult part, so I thought I would drive all the way to Galvinia because the rest of the road was good. He charged me as planned, as if he had taken the truck on the trailer. I didn't want to get in problems with him, but I saw this was a problem guy. He offered to fix the prop shaft, but gave me a ridiculous price to fix it. I say no thank you, and then he offered to do it for half the price. I was trapped because Galvinia is a small town and I didn't have any other option. So I said okay, I gave him half of the money in advance. I spent 4 days in Galvinia doing nothing, and on the fourth day the guy showed up with the wrong part. He brought the prop shaft for a two-wheel drive, and he had the nerve to say that we could install it, and the only thing that I wouldn't be able to drive 4x4. So you can imagine I was dumbfounded. I said no, I said give me my money back. He said I don't have your money. Well, it was a bit of an argument there, and it was complicated to get the money back. So I had to drive to Uppington, which is some 300 kilometers north, and look for a place to fix the prop shaft there because I knew this guy couldn't do it. So just in case you happen to be driving through Galvinia and you have the bad luck to require a recovery service, don't go to this Denver recovery because the guy is a scammer. In Uppington I found a prop shaft center and they did an awesome job. Serious people, very honest, they did an excellent job, and on the same day I have my prop shaft fixed and installed. Even though they have to work with load shedding, and every 4 hours they have to stop 2 hours because they don't have electricity. But kudos to them, these are the guys. And it is time to keep going.